Well, afternoon, Rory. How you doing?
Afternoon. Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks. Thanks for having me on.
No, you're most welcome, and indeed, welcome to the Business Spotlight, Rory. Thank you very much for sharing your time this afternoon. Could we start? Could you tell me a little about yourself, your background, and your business, please?
Yeah, I'm Rory Martin. I own and operate Strangford Lough Activity Centre. We're a quirky, innovative outdoor activity centre based on the shores of Strangford Lough in a small hamlet called White Rock, Colinchie. We offer a wide range of outdoor activities, mostly water-based, canoeing, kayaking, paddleboarding, boat tours, e-foiling, and then some land-based activities like laser tag and archery and hill walking and things like that, bushcraft. So lots of different activities. We operate in an area of outstanding natural beauty, site of specific scientific interest, and a marine nature reserve. So we're surrounded by lots of wildlife, lots of Christian heritage, castles, monuments, rocks, wrecks, lightships. And it's a real beautiful area that people love to come and explore. I suppose we try and do it slightly differently. I wouldn't go as far as to say we're a disruptor in the industry, but we're certainly trying to be. We offer really sort of different experiences where people might get to do yoga on an island and then have breakfast as the sun comes up and our sunrise sup and yoga experience. We do a paddle back in time where we paddle up to Nandram monastic site and they learn all about the history and heritage of the area. We do forage in a float where people paddle to an island and then forage for the different types of seafood on the island, and then we cook it up and eat it and look at all the different types of seaweed. So that's just some of the quirky experiences we offer, and we just try and do it slightly differently to keep ourselves interested and make it seem like an adventure, but also to make it interesting for the general public as well.
And how long has the business been going for, Rory?
I suppose I've been working in the industry for over 20 years, but I I suppose 5 years ago I started getting itchy feet and knew that I worked in a beautiful area, or sorry, lived in a beautiful area, and always wanted to do my own thing. I suppose I've worked in marketing and outdoor activities for a long time, and events management type stuff, and it was really the next natural step for me. So, um, in December 2018, I went freelance and started working in various different outdoor activity centers just to see if the freelance thing was an option. And then come 2019, the summer of 2019, I started running a few experiences just to test the market. And then in January 2020, we opened the doors as Strangford Lough Activity Centre and added a few new activities like paddleboarding, as well as kayaking and kayak hire and that sort of thing. And the week after we opened, COVID-19 hit and closed everything. The whole industry, hotels, attractions, they were all completely shut. And as you'll remember, I'm sure everybody was completely locked down for the guts of a month, I would say. I kind of blanked it out now. But yeah, it couldn't have been the worst timing to open a business. And of course, I'd invested all my life savings um, and bought myself a climbing wall. I bought paddle boards, kayaks, archery equipment, glamping equipment, like you name it. I'd gone hell for leather to get the business open, and then the doors were shut. So yeah, it probably was. Nobody could have foreseen it. Like it was. I wouldn't say it was bad advice or I'd made a mistake or anything. It was just unlucky. Um, and that was grand. I took a mortgage break and sort of started looking at the finances, trying to figure out what I was going to do. Was going to do some sort of online coaching type thing. Like I have technical skills, but they wouldn't be that great. So maybe I just needed the doors to reopen again. And once they opened, we were on top of it. We had the latest activities. We had the coolest staff that were really enthused about working in a new activity centre offering paddleboarding and kayaking, and the business just went from zero to hero pretty much overnight, and within 2 weeks we had, somewhere between 16 and 19 staff, um, all, 0 hours contract or freelance or casual summer staff, because it was essentially the summer. And then we had fantastic weather. I don't know if you remember back to sort of May 2020.
Yeah, do indeed. Yeah, painting the garden fence and barbecuing most evenings and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I think everybody took the opportunity to do the housework and get on top of things. But May and June were just brilliant weather. There was huge interest in paddleboarding, and nobody had anywhere to go because there was no flights. So we were one of the few companies in it. I don't like to boast or anything like that, but we were just one of the lucky ones. I think there were so many companies that got it tight, to the extent where some went under, and God love them, like, because it's not easy. That first month gave me a real taste of what it would be to fail before you've even started, Um, but we were just very lucky with the timing of it all, and because Strangford Lough is underexplored, there's very little access to it. There's no slipways or pontoons where the public can get access to it without being a member of a yacht club or having to pay, for example. We just found this wee area that we operate from, and it's ideal. It's, you're surrounded by the islands and all the attractions of Strangford Lough, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. So for the first 2 years, we couldn't really have had a better start. We'd, I think, in the first year in 2019, when I was sort of freelancing and doing my own thing, with about 1,000 visitors through. The following year, then we'd over 6,000.
Wow.
So yeah, it was quite a growth. And then I just kept adding more activities and reinvesting in the company. And we added boat tours and e-foiling, which were two sort of big activities, and have really sort of added another dimension to the business, and kept growing from there. Now that boom had to end, and we knew it was going to end. We didn't think that, we were going to have 10 years of constant growth, because it had been so busy, and it did, last year. Well, certainly this year it was a tighter year. You had to really work hard for the money. It wasn't coming to you naturally. We had to do a lot of marketing, a lot of contacting groups, who don't have the disposable income. They've lost their funding for the most part. Not having a sitting executive hasn't helped. But obviously the budget cuts that were bound to come after the COVID-19 pandemic has affected everyone, and the lack of disposable income has meant that people aren't doing local activities. Either that, or they've done them and they've bought their own paddle boards and moved on, or they're going further afield now that the flights are open. So it's just a change in marketplace, and we have to adapt to that.
And what sort of customers, or what sort of people would most benefit from engaging with your services?
I suppose we work with anyone and everyone, but that can be your downfall as well. You have to be quite prescriptive about your target market and know who your target market is. The first couple of years, we had a lot of families and individuals, which was great. It was all domestic tourism, obviously, with there not being any flights. And we kind of tailored everything to make sure that we could get families out on the water. So, we were using a lot of double kayaks so young kids as young as 5 could come out. Mm-hmm. And then we would take any age of adult. It would be people, obviously, that are interested in a bit of exploration, something different, maybe a skills course, learning how to do something. So one of our biggest markets would be kayak skills courses. So we teach people how to sea kayak, and paddle over distance, and all the skills and tides and weather and that sort of thing. And then we do coastal trips after that. So there's a progression, and we teach them how to roll a kayak as well. We do paddleboard skills courses as well. But as I say, the market has changed. So the first couple of years was all families and individuals, and the Instagrammers helped that. All these young body beautifuls that come out and take photos of themselves while they're on the water. That really helped that sort of target market come along.
People like you and me, Rory, is that obviously that's who you're referring to, influencers?
Absolutely. And now I suppose we're focusing more on groups, so we're doing a lot more promotion internationally for the American market and European market. So this year, for example, we've had about 200 or 300 American university students come over to do an experience that we offer called Paddle with a Purpose, and that's collecting the marine litter on the islands in Strangford Lough, and we bring it in and recycle it. But we give them a whole sort of educational lesson on leave no trace. And I suppose for them, it's giving back to the local community. It's offsetting their travel to come and see their heritage, if you like. A lot of Americans obviously had family members in historic times that have had emigrated out there, so a lot of them are coming to trace their roots, and it just gives them a sense of purpose and for coming over. So that's been great. We're working more with tour groups from that perspective. We're working a lot with school groups now and youth groups, which we wouldn't have previously. But I suppose the confidence in the staff and obviously growing the staff base has helped and made me realize that we can actually do this. So yeah, we're kind of adapting our target market. I would say is probably where we're at the minute, and trying to stay on top of things.
In terms of people that have influenced you, are there any business leaders that have sort of resonated with you along your journey?
Yeah, there are. I suppose probably one of the bigger people that have influenced me over the years would have been the likes of Richard Branson. I'm sure a lot of your interviewees talk about him, but yeah, I just loved his persona and his ability to have a laugh while he was working in business. Those stunts, that got him in the media and the press, and he developed fantastic brands and well-known brands, and he's such a character in business. But I think more than anything, he seemed to love what he did, and if you can't enjoy what you're doing, I don't know that there's any. For me, certainly, there's no point in doing it. There's no point in racking your head against a brick wall just to try and make ends meet. You may as well try and enjoy it as much as you can, and that's what I'm trying to do with my own business. Make sure that there's longevity in it, and hopefully I can pass it on to my son or daughter somewhere down the line.
Excellent. And what aspect of your business, Rory, are you most proud of?
I suppose it's the innovation and the partnerships with other local tourism businesses. The innovation side of things was early on, we managed to get access to a pontoon in Strangford Lough, and we were able to run boat tours from it. And offer there's dolphins in Strangford Lough at the minute, so that's really added to the experience. We had a basking shark swim under our boat there last year, so that was quite an experience for the people that were out as well. The second biggest fish in the water. But from the innovation side of things, we saw this new activity called e-foiling. I know I've mentioned it a couple of times previously, but it's like a motorized flying surfboard which comes up out of the water and travels at about up to 40 miles an hour if you're quite skillful. Most beginners would struggle to get it above 15 to 20 in their first outing, but it's probably the biggest gamble that I've taken in the business. They're extremely expensive. Obviously, electric technology and water don't mix that well, so there's a lot of research and development that has gone into it. But yeah, that sort of quirky, innovative thing really gave us a bit of a push up, bit of a leg up in the marketing world as well. And I suppose, yeah, the innovation side of things has been great. We've worked with a lot of local companies, organizations and charities, which we love doing. We love partnering up and trying to make something mutually beneficial. So, as they say, a rising tide lifts all ships, So if we can help somebody else get off the ground, and do it in a sustainable, environmentally friendly, eco-conscious way, and educate people about their local environment, then we're delighted to do that, So that's what we're trying to do. Whether it amounts to anything or not, I'm not sure, but we'll see.
Sounds great. And you're right. I didn't know what an e-foil was when you mentioned it, but now I've seen like a surfboard raised out of the ground with like a fin in the middle going along. Is that?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. It's we bought sort of beginners boards so that anybody could do it. We've really sort of tried to make it, uh, as easy for people to access, and give it a go. It's an expensive sport in a sense that if you ever wanted to get into it, they're probably on a par with most cars, the price of them. But yeah, if you come along with a group, you can obviously bring the price down a fair bit and get out and have a blast on it. But everybody that comes off the water is just amazed by the feeling. It's totally silent. It's eco-friendly. It's not like, a jet ski, which creates a lot of noise and disrupts the environment. You can do it and have as much fun, maybe probably more fun actually, and not annoy anybody in the process. So yeah, it's been a big hit. We can take, updated people at a time, e-foiling, they just share boards and swap in and out. But yeah, we're just trying to constantly think of the next thing ahead and the next curve, the next fashion, and stay on top of it, really.
Literally.
Yeah.
And if you could go back in time, Rory, and dish out some advice to yourself at the age of 18, what would that advice sound like?
At 18 now, 18, I was probably just coming out of college and going to university. But I suppose a younger me would have been obviously study hard at school, study harder than I did. I had I enjoyed my young life quite a lot, I would say. I wouldn't change that for the world, but I think pay more attention in the finance and economics side of things, because if at any point that you do want to start your own business, you need to be on top of that, and that was a mistake that I would have it's probably the mistake that I own up to the most, is not being on top of that. And that, we had accountants and stuff. I wouldn't say they were bad by any means. We just we weren't clued in enough to direct them in what we wanted to do. So yeah, pay more attention in school.
Very good. We got there in the end. Very good. So tell me, we're almost at the end of 2023. So what new or upcoming initiatives in 2024 are you most excited about in your business?
Okay, yeah. We've just launched e-bikes, so we bought 10 high value e-bikes, which should last a long time. They're quite quirky, and we're going to start rolling out tours of it. We've got some new sort of touring paddle boards that we're going to try and paddle the whole length of the lock in, and give people that have come through paddleboarding skills courses more of a adventure type tour experience, maybe camping overnight in the islands. But I suppose the biggest one really is a glamp site. So we have plans in place. We're kind of through the last hurdles, hopefully, with the planning department. So we're just waiting on an answer really to see if we're going to be able to open our new glamp site. But it's completely off grid. It'll have solar panels, reed bed, water purification system, eco self-composting toilets. And, with that, we will hopefully develop more of a captive market where people come and stay, and then they come out and do some activities with us as well. But it's kind of more targeted at the low low budget family group market. So there's already some accommodation providers locally that provide more of a high end type thing. So we're hoping we don't step on anyone's toes, but actually add and increase the tourism locally and benefit the local economy.
That sounds fantastic. It's amazing just some of the things that exist on your doorstep, and such a wide range of activities that you offer. So look, you got my attention, Rory. If somebody else hears and likes what you've said and would like to go down and try some of these activities and so on, then what's the best way for people to reach out or get in touch?
Yeah, I suppose we operate all year round. At the minute, we're kind of running our Santa cruise, so that's when people come down and see Santa and go out for a cruise in Strangford Lough. So there's something to do all year round. The best way to stay on top of it is to either visit our website, strangfordloughactivitycentre.com, or look us up on Facebook or Instagram and Strangford Lough Activity Centre on both platforms. So yeah, we'd love to welcome anybody to Strangford Lough and take them out and show them the sights.
Fantastic. Well, Rory Martin from Strangford Lough Activity Centre, thank you very much for your time and sharing your story. It sounds like a fantastic business, and I wish you have you're the first person I'm going to say it to. Have a great Christmas, Merry Christmas, and I wish you all the best for what's left of 2023, 2024 and beyond. Thanks very much, Rory.
Super. Thanks for having me.